fans, happy group of the world. In the words of the great Shard Gunner, Arsenal stomped all over Spurs, and the pundits are saying it's a new Arsenal. And to have with me the great Blackburn George and his pal Siebes.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing? And I was hoping to have some other folks from the Uncensored team. They must have gotten cold feet. Actually, some of my good friend Yab is traveling. And Bisa was somewhere in Houston in a bar watching this game. She must be drunk by now. George, 3-0. You and I, and even Siebes, because Siebes, I saw your comments on Positively Arsenal. We didn't see this coming. George, what about you? An attacking lineup, George? You were thinking you would have free DMs in the midfield. And we have Saka, Odegaard, and ESR, and they gave Spurs hell in the first half. Aren't you surprised? Pleasantly surprised, George?
Oh, yeah, it was great. But to be fair to me, that was more or less the back. Well, I picked that team from the back.
Oh, no. You only had two. You had two in the middle. Yes, you had two in the middle.
The back seven.
Yes.
And well, that's what it was. And then we had Odegaard playing in front of them, and Saka, Emil Smith Rowe wide, and Aubameyang central.
Yes.
So, yeah, I was surprised. It certainly worked. The first 20 minutes was outstanding. I mean, we were all over them.
Yes.
And, Gary Neville on my stream was saying how bad Spurs were, but I think that's a bit unkind on Arsenal. I think we just swamped them. You know, they were having to launch it long because they couldn't fucking get through our midfield. Granit Xhaka and Thomas Partey played really well in the first half. Once we scored, we changed. We sat back and we countered. We actually scored 3 goals on the counter.
Yes, we did.
We were pressing them in the first half. The goal didn't come from a build-up play. It came from a counter, which is all right. That was good. That's what you want. And the second half, we just sat back and it was very comfortable. It was a bit meh. I was hoping for another 3 goals or something, but you can't be too greedy. We sort of went back into our shell. From about 55, 60 minutes on, Partey started playing rather negatively, slowing it down, playing it backwards again like we have been doing this season so far. But we'd won the game by that point. I'm not complaining. That's fine. You know, you don't. Why throw the kitchen sink at it and risk getting done yourself? So,
yes.
Overall, it was a great day. Mikel Arteta has to get credit. I'm quick to criticise him. He picked an attacking lineup. Again, I've said this before. I don't know what he's doing, but he's got the attitude right. They certainly looked up for it, more so than Spurs. And it was a good day at the office. And if we continue to play like that, you'll get no complaints from me. But let's not pretend, you know, as they say, one swallow does not a summer make.
Yes.
Although they do also say, from small acorns, giant
oaks.
So we might be either an acorn or a swallow. Let's wait and see till a few games from now.
Siebes, get yourself in the middle of the screen, my friend, if you can. Yes, I know you've been excited, but Siebes, that was a very attacking line. I was surprised. You know, my the show that we did with Ehab, me and George, the question I asked, would he adopt an attacking lineup? And I was being constructive. I was not being negative, you know. And my view was if he adopted a more conservative lineup, he might have a chance, but he completely surprised me. What about you?
Yeah, well, I've got it on good authority that Mikel was watching Ehab's board before the game.
Tactics board.
Tactics board. And that's why I got it so right. Yeah, I mean, I thought that Tottenham were a better side before the game started. I thought that they were the better side, and I thought we would struggle. I was pinning all my hopes on the fact that they've got a terrible record when we're playing at home. But yeah, it was fantastic first 20. And I thought it just shows you the difference what a couple of players can make and what a positive attitude can make. But people were saying about Saka's not on form, and he gives the ball away as much as Pepe and stuff like this. But what he'll give you is end product.
Yes.
And that first goal proved he wasn't beating the man. He just got a little bit in front, crossed the ball, and Smith Rowe run in front of his man and hit it diagonally across. Fantastic goal. But it's the same as Chelsea last year, really.
Yes.
That we're relying on two youngsters to make a massive difference to the team. I mean, everybody knows that I don't rate Pepe. Pepe wouldn't have got that cross across.
No, he wouldn't. No,
we would have got a corner there.
Yes.
And that's the difference. You have to be decisive. You have to have end product. And Smith Rowe, Odegaard, and Saka give you that end product. And I think that's where the difference was today.
Well, Siebes, I know that there are some Pepe partisans, and some of them are part of the uncensored team. So, we all have our different opinions, and I don't want to be unkind to anyone. But the problem is that Pepe would have had to come back on his left foot and make a cross. I saw him attempt one right-footed cross in a game last week, and I was shocked. I was telling George that, by the way. But he would have had to come back, and they would have gobbled him up, and would never have gotten that cross. And yes, I would never been able to sneak behind. I don't know who it was. They are saying it was Højbjerg. Sneak behind Højbjerg and get about at the penalty spot and shoot. So we have to recognize that Saka is two-footed. He could have come inside or he could have gone outside. He went outside and he cut back, and that's all she wrote. And I think that we need to recognize, even in a program like this, that we all have differences of opinion. But at the end of the day, we are concerned about a better Arsenal, which is apparently what most people don't care. They care about PR and they care about scoring points.
Basically, although people think I really don't like Pepe, I do. I cheer him on whenever he's playing.
Yes.
And I recognise that he's got good technique and he's a very, very good player. But he doesn't play well for the Arsenal side. However, having said that, a couple of times when he has looked dangerous is when he's played on the other side and he hasn't got coming back on himself all the time. So as much as that is, then that's obviously Mikel's fault. Keep playing him down that side when it's just not working. And I think that today really highlighted that. So going forward, I think that's something that we recognised. I mean, you recognised obviously now the mistake that he made with Martinez and Leno, because Ramsdale is just leagues above.
Don't get me started on that, Seed, because me and George and you, when you came on earlier, we said he sold the wrong goalkeeper. And you have these people who are PR merchants, who are Arteta stands, who refuse to see what we saw. And me and George and even you said, we're not goalkeeping experts, but we've been watching this game for 40 years, I think in all our cases. And we know a good goalkeeper when we saw one. Even yesterday, Emi Martinez talked Bruno Fernandes out of a penalty. He was the man we should have kept. But no, we don't want to look at the game objectively. Let me go to George. George, I've kept you out of this. But, that is what he made. I know you gave him credit, but let's give him full credit. he made the right choice. And when he sat Pepe down, some of us said that was a wrong decision, but he made the right choice in his today based on the results. Perhaps you want to underline that.
Well, it's always the right choice if the result goes your way, and it's always the wrong choice if the result doesn't go your way. I don't think it's quite that simple.
Yeah.
I mean, Twitter exploded today when they picked Granit Xhaka.
Oh,
as if there's any doubt that he's our best centre mid. It's just ridiculous. And he had a great game, by the way. Thomas Partey.
George.
Thomas Partey. Go on.
No, George. It annoys me because, as you said, it was perfectly predictable that Arteta was going to pick Xhaka again. And I don't know. These people keep putting there. Even those who support Arteta, they're so emotionally wrapped up in this whole thing. I just don't get it. Keep going, George.
Well, you say I thought he played really well. I hope to God he's not badly injured.
Yeah.
And Partey had a good first half. Partey pinged the ball to a crossfield ball to Aubameyang, and Aubameyang miscontrolled it.
Right.
If he'd have been able to control it, it would have been 4-0 up. It was a fantastic ball. Yes. And him and Xhaka worked really well together, complemented each other. Xhaka was progressing the ball. He did some fabulous skills, Xhaka. Mm-hmm. But nobody says fuck all about it. It's like, what are they watching?
Yes.
And then the people will come on and tell you what a great game Partey had, and he did have a good game. But Xhaka was different gravy. From winning the ball, passing the ball, moving it quickly, he did everything right, and the guy can't get any credit. But anyway,
George, and of course he was physical, and I thought he got away with that foul on Højbjerg. I thought it was a foul, but you know what? That was taught a long time ago to play to the referee's whistle, and Xhaka has gotten his fair share of unfair decisions. So he got away with one because I thought he clattered into Højbjerg for that.
Well, I didn't think he clattered into him. I think he touched him.
That's my opinion.
I think he touched him. There was but it wasn't enough for him to go flying head over tit.
Yeah,
the cheating scummy bastard. So fuck them. I've no sympathy for them. They've been diving for fucking last 10 years, Tottenham Hotspur, and it's not working for them. It didn't work for them today, so bollocks to them. But anyway, we played well. Everything is rosy. We're into the top half now, unbelievably, 10th. And we've got a decent run of games coming. Other teams dropping points. Our main rivals are now probably Leicester and Everton.
Yes.
For the 5th and 6th place, if we keep going the way we're going. But it has only been one game. Let's get that right. It could just as easily go wrong next time, but hopefully it won't. And we're seeing the start of something good. I think if you can, and I work for the Emperor Tomasito or whatever his name is. Tommy, as they call him.
You got me tongue tied because you got.
I don't know how he didn't get man of the match. I don't fucking know.
I'm going to come back to that, by the way. I'm going to come back to that.
Outstanding.
Man of the match. I'm going to come back to that in a moment. And by the way, we had started off with three. we had to start off with 3 live people. I guess there are people watching on Twitter. This is just But guys, if you're watching anywhere, post your comments. But Siebes, the second half we sat back and Spurs got back in the game. By the way, Siebes, I'm going to make a comment here for the benefit of any Spuddy watching here. From the day, what you may call it, came back, you have not looked the same team. His mind is on his $400,000 a week salary. Today he contributed very little to their team. You know who I'm talking about. And and it was telling that his son who got that goal after a nice counter-attacking play. What are your thoughts about that second half?
Yeah, I thought we actually sat back too deep. You can't invite other teams on. Yeah, you can play counter attacking and everything, but you do have to match up. And if Kane had scored the goal early that he should have done,
Yes.
then there might have been a bit of a wobble. So yeah, by all means, if you're 3-0 up at half time, why waste the energy? Sit up 2 banks of 4 or however you want to set up, and then counter attack. But you have to do it sensibly. And I thought we sat back a little bit too much. We went very, very narrow at times, which meant that on both wings they were able to get crosses in with no pressure on the cross. Both Tierney and Tommy were left on their own.
Yes.
With 2 players on them a couple of times, which was our problem against Chelsea earlier on in the season when Chelsea recognised that and murdered Tierney, absolutely murdered him because he was on his Todd all the time.
Yeah.
So if you're going to go back, then and they spread the ball wide and then play the ball back out to cross, you need to make sure that the midfield are going in those spaces, stopping the crosses. And try. Then they will have to try and play their way through you, and that's going to be more difficult. But you can't allow that many. You can't allow players, because all Premiership players are good players. You can't allow a Premiership player to have a cup of tea before he picks out who he's going to cross the ball to. And
Right.
at times we went very narrow, and that's what we did. The second goal, their goal. Tommy had to approach a player, and I think it was Saka, I'm not sure. When the midfielder played the ball back round, he didn't run with him. And that's how the ball come across the Son, and then Sonny just launched it in the back of the net. So, yeah, if we're 1-0 up against someone and we try that, it won't work. We have to. That's an area that we're going to have to get better on. But yeah, we got away with it today. So, not necessarily got away with it because we played very well. But if we are going to set to defend for 45 minutes, or if it's a cup game and we're defending a 1-0 lead for 15 minutes or whatever, then we're going to have to be tighter. We're going to have to stop crosses. We didn't stop crosses at Burnley last week.
That's my concern. And you remember my headline, 40
yes.
crosses. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and obviously, Aaron is making a fantastic difference there.
Yes.
But the one thing I'll say about Kane this week was that really surprised me. When we signed Ben White, I was looking at all the figures and everything like that, and he had a worse defensive record. His stats were worse than any of the Arsenal centre-backs.
Yes.
Especially in the air. That was the one. His aerial duels didn't win anything. Well, he did today. He won loads against Kane today. And I'm thinking, well, if it's a player that doesn't win a majority of his aerial duels and he's beating Kane in most of them, then obviously there's got to be something wrong with him. And so whether that's that he's given up and he's saying to Levy, fuck you, I don't care, or not, I don't know. But we've seen Kane play against us enough times to know how much quality he's got.
And I'm not doubting his quality, but ever since his return, he has not been the same player, and that's my concern. He's not being the same player by any means. George, what you thought?
Not my concern. I don't give a fuck how bad he is.
George, you hinted on it. Let's not. So you hinted at it. Who was your man of the match? And I'm going to ask
Tommy.
Tommy. He had all his duels. He won all his duels. He
his first touch control, picking the ball when it's launched at him. His first touch, he takes a touch forward, and he's on it in a flash. Good player. Good player. From what we've seen so far, great addition to the team.
What about you, Siebes? You're man of the match.
Yeah, it's difficult because there were so many good players, and because we didn't have a particularly good second half, you're picking on 45 minutes. I thought Smith Rowe was excellent. Xhaka was brilliant in midfield. The two centre backs done well. Aaron was fantastic just because of his communication. He reminded me a lot of like Schmeichel on that. So, basically any defender who is playing in front of Aaron Ramsdale knows he's going to get a kick up the arse if he makes any sort of mistake. So that was very good. Tommy's good as well.
But you have to come down. No, dodging and hiding. Who was your man of the match?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go for, my love of academy players, so I'm going to go Smith Rowe.
He was brilliant. He was brilliant, and people were saying last week that he something was, his passes weren't properly weighted, and he missed a fabulous opportunity against Burnley. But he was on his game today. I love that. Guys, go ahead.
The cross by Saka. I mean, first of all, for the first goal, Saka's job is to get that ball across penalty area, which he done. But Smith Rowe still had to get in front of his man, and then if he'd have just hit it, then the slow Loris would have got it. But the fact that he let the ball hit his foot diagonally to go across goal meant that they didn't stand, that the defender on the line and the slow Loris was nowhere near it.
Yes.
And obviously he got an assist as well.
To Arba.
And it just throughout the game, he was very, very controlled. Like I say, second half, I think all of the players maybe need to work on, or the team setup needs to work up. But I love academy players coming through. I'll always support them. So my man of the match was Smith Rowe.
Well, George is the emperor. You are Smith Rowe. Guys, so is this a new dawn? I had somebody, I don't know if you know him. He's on the NBC team, Arlo White, saying this is, new dawn, Arsenal 2.0, the whole 9 yards. Graham Lesau, who you know from Chelsea, was he right or left back? I can't remember. Said he wasn't too sure. And then the NBC team was debating it, but they're trying to make something out of this to as part of their show. You know how these broadcasters are. But seriously, George, are we seeing a new Arsenal?
Hopefully, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, we had 5 shocking games and 1 good one. Mm-hmm. Now, that won't do going forward, a 5-to-1 ratio. If we see it the other way around, if we get 5 games on the bounce now where we play really well, then we can start talking. But let's wait and see. Hopefully, we've certainly seen that we have the players. But I've always said we have the players. It's not the players. The system hasn't worked up until this point. But it worked today. And on this sitting back on the 3-0 lead, I don't have any problem with that at all, however deep we sit. My problem is when you break, you have to break quickly. And that's what we didn't do. We stopped playing forward. When we were breaking, we broke into midfield, then started fucking about in midfield. You have to, if you're going to sit back, you break and you break quickly and you pass forward and you take risks with your passes forward. We didn't do that. So that can improve. But much improved. Good day. Everything's fine. Let's see how it goes from here. Let's not try and run before we can walk.
Yes. Arsenal 2.0, Siebes. Question that is going through my mind. I saw Arteta rejoicing. He and his coaching team, embracing after every goal as if this is something they were written on the chalkboard and it had come true. I think this was some sort of vindication for what he's been doing. I thought that was the message he was giving. And in the presser, there was a presser in the interview afterwards. He was exultant. Is this 2.0? Is this what Arteta wants? have you seen it yet? George is cautious.
Yeah, I mean, of course he was happy. He's that'll keep him in his job till Christmas, wouldn't it? No, if he'd have lost today, he would have been under loads of pressure. So that's relief as much as anything else. He has been under pressure. Like George says, we've had 5 dire games, and he's just about bobbled through. But today was expressive, expansive, and joyful. So yeah, I can understand why he went. But as far as going forward's concerned, like George was saying, the fixtures don't look too bad. If Brighton win tomorrow, they're top of the league, and we've got to go down to their place. So that's going to be another tough test.
We have Crystal Palace next or Southampton. Which one is it? I can't remember.
It's Brighton next, isn't it? It's Brighton.
I can look it up, but I won't. That's not important. Keep going.
Yeah, Brighton have got Palace tomorrow.
Tomorrow, I know that, and if they can go to the top of the tables,
and they'll be top. So we will then have to go to their place, and they're a good team at the moment. So that'll be a big test. That will tell us a lot more. Every game that goes past will tell us a lot more. You never quite know in a lot of these games. I don't know what it is with football teams, but you get these runs, and Tottenham have only beaten us once in 29 years at home.
Yeah.
So, is it just a voodoo thing? I don't know. But we did play well today, basically. But each game that goes past will tell us a little bit more. Will he pick the same side? Will he start? Will he attack from the start? Will he just sit back from the start? We don't know. So Brighton next week will tell us a lot. I don't know about Arsenal 2.0 after 18 months. It's it's a bit difficult to tell. I mean, Edu must have changed to start signing off all these young players in this, after 18 months. Edu's been there 3 seasons or something, hasn't he? And it's only now. It's only now that
Edu came in the fall. Edu came in the fall when the Don was in charge before he left. Edu came in the fall.
So he's had the chance to bring young players in when he first come in, but he didn't.
Yes.
And he's only just done that. So there's been a change of thinking there already. So if Mikel's changed as well, then maybe we've got some, it's going to be some progression, and it's going to be fantastic going forward. And that's what we've got hope for, obviously. But like I say, each game will, every manager will tell you, don't get too high when you get a good win. Don't get too low if you get a defeat. And as fans, it's very difficult because beating Spurs is absolutely fantastic. It's what I live for. But, and then going above them in the table and seeing the women going top of their table as well. Fantastic. Yes. But, unfortunately, we have to be level-headed and wait a bit. Bit of a crap, I know, but there you go.
Well, Seems, I'm glad you say that, because that was what I was hinting at in the topic for today's show. Is yes, we stomp all over them, but is it 2.0? Is it a new dawn, as these commentators want to say? Ornstein started saying that by just beating Spurs, this was going to be a new day for Arteta and all of that stuff, which, quite frankly, David Ornstein, you're a PR merchant. Take it from Shatter. It doesn't matter to you, though, because you're getting paid for your point of view. You didn't leave the Guardian. Was it Guardian he was working for? The Guardian or the BBC? Yeah. He was working for the BBC. You didn't leave the BBC to go to the Athletic because you're going to get less money. Okay? You're not. I'm too old, long in the tooth to know how this thing works. Anyway, guys, I want to give my good friend Shard Gunner, who said an army is different. We should stomp over them, clean our shoes off, and move forward. And he was right. He was absolutely on the ball. Thank you, Shard Gunner. You set this up right and you came through. Thank you, guys. This has been interesting. A hot take after the game. We don't have the stats, but this is how we're feeling. A very good victory. I want to leave on the note that Sieb said. Don't get too high after victory. Take it in stride. Let's not get carried away. But we are happy Gooners tonight. Thank you very much, George.
Let Mikel Arteta and his fans have their moment in the sun. That's what I say. Let them enjoy it. And let's try and enjoy it with them.
Yeah.
We will. Thank you, guys. We had some internet problems at the beginning, but we did it. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Bye. Cheers.
Later, guys.
All righty.